question about Miller Cup. So whenever you,
Yeah, here we go. All right, welcome in everybody to After the Game tonight again with Charlie Miller. Jim will be with us shortly. He is in the press conferences as usual. Charlie and I already done a little bit of talking before we got on, and man, there is a ton to really dig deep into with this. But Charlie, I'll go and open it up to you. How do you want to open this?
well, I want to first say thank you always for having me on the show, and hoping my comments, resonate with everybody, and I would love to say, hey, shut up. That's not right. All good. But check it. Keith asked a question. Why does Miller Cup guard Johnny Davis? That's stupid. Yes and no. It's matchup, right? Because it wasn't like Johnny Davis was scoring like a ton of baskets on Miller Cup. He was making some tough shots, right? Shots he took the first game and was missing the first half. He was making tough shots. He got it going. First shot, fade away, right shoulder on the damn bench of ours. Didn't hit a rim. He had his focus and concentration was very high. Getting hit, left hand, right hand. And how many ways can a guy score? He showed us.
Absolutely.
He showed us. That to me was the biggest difference. You won't really see that as a highlight to me because it wasn't really silent, but you had so many other little factors in the game, right? The squabble between Parker and other player, right? But he was consistent, and I think that was the difference tonight. Big difference.
One thing you mentioned earlier too, Trace Jackson Davis, although he had 30 points, you said he probably should have had about 45. He should have been taking a lot more shots. Why is it that you feel like that Trace Jackson Davis should have been more of the focus if they were going to be able to pull this one out?
Yeah, in the share, I felt he should have had literally. I'm curious to know how many shots he's taken, but that's a game he should have about 35 to 45 shots, and I'm not even exaggerating. And because this is what I'm hoping that they listen to this, somebody listen to this and pass the word on to the locker room or the film study people. When Trace gets it and he goes with immediacy, and that's a real word, look it up, immediacy, right? A sense of importance. When he gets it and go, it's either a foul, he's shooting two, it's a block because he did it so quick, he stunned the defensive player where he was shocked, right? Or he's at the basket as athletic as he is and high he can jump. It's a dunk, it's a putback, right hand, left hand, whatever. When he stalls, this is when I think he gets off balance because he plays too upright. The ball's up, and I mean, I'm not criticizing, but, I got to give you the illustration, right? The ball is up, he's up, holding it, looking. Now you can't go because now the guy they're going to shrink your space. Your space is shrunk now. Defender's down low. Now, any move you make, it's going to be probably player control on you. Versus when you get it and first just go, they can't stop that because he's really good with his footwork. When you take away what he does right, he knows how to come back left and make a second move. So for me, he should have literally, that should have been to me 30, 35 shots, 45, 10, 12 might have been forced, but that was your best course of action because what will happen is now defense has to pack it in, and now we got Parker, Trey, X, guys shooting practice spot up shots, shot fake, one drill pull up rhythm. Weak shot balls that were out of rhythm, out of sync, and had no chance of going in. And that puts a lot of pressure now on what you're going to do defensively when you got a guy like Johnny Davis.
One other thing we talked about that really seemed to have an impact on the way that the last part of the game played out was the stoppage of time for the officials to go over and review to see if the ball went out on Indiana and Wisconsin. But instead, they decided that Wisconsin was never out of bounds at all, and they gave Wisconsin the ball back, if I'm not mistaken. Why were they able to do that? And to me, it doesn't make any sense that they were able to reverse and take that much time on that kind of a thing.
Well, right. I've never seen that. I thought we were playing at the Hyper. Is it still called the Hyper?
I think it is called the Hyper.
Man,
I could be mistaken.
Basketball. Like, You stop play. Like to me, that should have been a dead ball foul. And then whoever has the arrow, that's where the ball should have been. If it goes to Wisconsin, I think to me, I don't know the rule book. That would have been a better explanation to me, to Coach Woodson or to the other coach over at Wisconsin if we got the basketball. But I think that was crucial. You now that's another timeout you all get, right? That's another timeout you all get. I mean, we get rest as well. But that was a crucial turnover that late in the shot clock, where we just wasn't consistent at even getting shots off in the last 4, 5, 6 possessions, or at least good looks, I should say.
And then speaking of not being able to get a good look, not the very last possession of the game, but the last meaningful possession of the game for Indiana, you saw Parker Stewart and a handful of other players just kind of standing around the top of the key, not knowing what to do, and somebody throws up a shot that makes absolutely no sense from way behind the three-point line. Where did that come from? Obviously, you wouldn't think that's what Coach Woodson drew up, being the head coach, obviously. We've seen plenty better plays from him. What is it that caused him to get so flustered and force that at the end?
Not knowing the clock. Not knowing the clock. I mean, and then you have the pressures of, if you do know the clock, you just, almost like, again, man, when you're winning, time goes slow. When you're losing, it goes fast. Yeah. And we had nothing going. So I can see that double hit shot he did, which is really not him in rhythm, was forced. But I think it was one of those time and score factors. The score and time really affected his decision-making. And again, race was right there. That means you have another defender from Wisconsin there. Parker's there, another defender. You have 4 guys in a 2-3 foot radius that, nothing's good is going to happen other than like, oh my God, I can't believe you made it. Other than that, I mean, you're not going to make that shot much often.
And now you've got your 4th straight loss. If it wasn't clear to you already, and to me it's been clear, honestly, since the events that transpired in Evanston with the suspensions, Indiana is going to have to play their way into the NCAA tournament at this point. There's no way that any major bracketologist or bracket forecaster is going to have them in the NCAA tournament right now. You got 5 games left, 3 of them on the road, 2 of them against ranked opponents. And we got Jim Coyle-Barry be joining us here in a couple of minutes. But can Indiana, do you think with 4 out of the 5, they could play themselves back in, maybe get a Big Ten tournament win? What do you think it looks like if Indiana is going to make the NCAA tournament?
Man, now you have to win. You have to win, and then it's going to be this team has to lose, and this team got to do this and that. You got to win out now. I mean, you don't really have a lot of room. Resume was, I think, being built. It was being built, looking pretty strong. But now, man, you have to
interesting
win.
Comment. Sorry to cut you off, but 0-4 without Rob Finney. That's interesting. I mean, obviously, you could definitely tell that there was something missing, especially with the minutes Christian Lander was giving tonight.
Well, what Rob brings to me, not necessarily scoring, but he brings organization to the chaos they may have. He's the seasoned vet, been around, slow everybody down. You root like heck for him because you want to see him put the ball in the hole more often. But I think he understands how to get everybody involved. Nothing against X, but that's, I think, what he would give you. That's missing. Now you're going to have to rely on guys with less experience, like Christian Lander late. And I'm like, okay, where'd that come from? No, I'm not criticizing the way he played, but you had your candy stripes on the whole thing of time. And not your name call. He step up. I mean, it's tough. You've been on the bench. That's a tough assignment. You come in, you get an and one on you. First, yeah, it's like, man, young rookie, go right at him. Wow. Right? Puts his head down. That's tough. Now you have nobody else. Who's going to come in? Seriously, who's going to come in and give a spell of a minute or two that I think hurt us, you all. I think that break hurt us. But I think it hurt us. That's when the tide changed.
Well,
When the sub happened. Nothing against Tamar, nothing against Chris. That I was like, oh, I don't think this is a good time.
it was like watching water freeze and
You
just
got
watching it go down, and all of a sudden someone turned the heat up.
you got
It
a Wisconsin
changed.
team that knows how to get to the basket, pick up fouls, make free throws. That's a man. I don't know. X, your tongue has to hang out your mouth. Trace, sorry, bro. Get water like Tim Goss, spill some water on him. Like you can't come out. Like there's, I mean, again, that's just my take, and I'm not saying I'm right, but that substitution at that time, that type of crucial game, man, that was tough.
And Charlie, both halves they ended negatively.
Right,
They
right,
let Wisconsin go on
right,
a run at the end of the first half,
right.
and at the end of the game, and Wisconsin goes on an 8-0 run over the last just under 2 minutes. They hit their last 3 shots. Indiana hit one of their last 10. You can't win like that, obviously.
Yeah,
You got to give Trace Jackson Davis a hell of a tip of the hat.
exactly.
But just early on, he's like, well, this is going to be easy. Wisconsin could. I'm like, well, they can't stop him. I was like, oh,
Right,
all day long, just come
right,
down and just all day long. And
right.
even when Mike Durer came in that second unit, I'm like, don't go. If they go away from this now, and they did. Did Michael Durer? How many shots did he even get off? I don't know that he even. Not that he's going to be taking a lot, but when he was
Right.
in, I'd have been doing the same thing. Just don't
Right.
even let up.
Well, my
Keep
point, but it's so what you're saying is exactly right. We don't care who's playing that position. We just need you going because now that'll loosen us up on the perimeter to take practice shots. I'm not saying we miss shots that were rushed or no, you got to take the shot. Shot clock's winding down. You don't want a shot clock violation because that's like a defensive stop. That's momentum for the other team. But whoever's in that position, game plan for me, like you just said, just go. Make them pack it in. Go swing weak side, swing it back to the strong side, get it back to the guy, middle guy, the big, and now go to work, right? Swing that basketball. But you what I said earlier too. I mean, I felt Trace should have had. How many shot attempts did he have, Jim?
Oh
Trace.
man, he had a bunch. Let's see, Trace Jackson Davis. He was 10 of 13.
He only took 13 shots.
He was 10 of 14 at the free throw line, but he only took 14 field goal, or 13 field goal attempts.
Oh my. Okay, so what
He
I
hit
said.
10.
I said he should have taken 35. Like
Yeah,
what
he
I'm
should keep getting the
it
ball.
should have been 35. And because again, I don't care if several have been forced because now you have to make a choice to help too much. Now you got to make them, now you put them on defense. I don't think we put them on defense when they're on defense. I think we put them at ease knowing they're going to pack it in and we weren't making the wisest of decisions on the perimeter. And then they got all their energy coming downhill and they go 20 for 24 free throws, guards.
Second game in a row, Indiana has given up over 28 free throws. Actually, 28 in the last game, 29 in this game. And again, an unbelievable high percentage is what did they end up shooting? 76% for the game on 29, or when was it? 70 on 29 attempts. They missed 7 out of 29, so 22 points. So there's your game. There's part of the game there. There's a 7-point stretch there because everywhere else, if you look across the stats, Indiana is there or leading. But
Yeah,
man, they just could not get anything production from the guards again, and it just you can beat some teams like this, but you can't beat a team that has has a Mr. Davis.
Yeah, you won't. You won't. And then again, you won't be the team where again, 24 free throws. That goes back to people of what I'm constantly preaching to offensive players is when you play offense, and Wisconsin's a great team that does this, they create long closeout situations that when the time you help, they're by you, They're finding an open man. They're shooting high percentage shots. They're rebounding the ball offensively. That's tough to guard. And tonight, foul trouble shows, and they stepped up and made free throws.
Yeah, and there was no one that could really stop Davis. I mean, it didn't matter who it was, and it's he's a hell of a player. I don't know. Is he the best player in the Big Ten?
Hey man, he's
individual player. Is he the best individual player in the Big Ten?
Ivy is pretty. Jim Ivy is pretty special.
He is. It just that.
But hey, he scored the ball tonight. Because here's what I said to John prior to the show. Johnny Davis played the same way the first game. He missed a lot of shots, and he
was missing. He didn't take a lot in the beginning. Indiana did a good job keeping him in check,
keeping him out. But then the second half, it was mucky, but he ended up scoring 18, 19, whatever. But it was not pretty. He kept going. Right? Tonight, he was making tough shots, right-handed, left-handed, fadeaway,
on the block, up against the bigs.
And Trace is a high jumper. Trace is not an average, leaper at as tall as he is. He showed us like his jump from 7 points per game to 20 points per game. You saw his production off season. You saw it.
Yeah, he was tremendous. I mean, he is something special, man. Hopefully, Indiana won't have to see him again.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Race Thompson again, just another typical Race Thompson night. 13 points, 5 of 8, 8 rebounds. I mean, he's just a machine. He's just a machine. But Indiana has got to get it. This is a game that really makes. From a fan standpoint, they got to make your stomach hurt because I looked at Wisconsin. Indiana again made Wisconsin look average. Other than Davis and Davison, they are substandard. They're below average almost. They're solid. They know what they're doing. They play their roles. They do what they're supposed to do. They don't make mistakes. They don't do anything fancy. But then you've got these guys that are way above average players, and man, they just spill the magic.
That's identification, man. You gotta. I mean, which I think we're starting to build. They know their teammates. I always say this, man. How do you make your teammates better? Do you know your coach's playbook and what happened last play? And a team like Wisconsin, they know get a ball to Johnny, get out of the way, go set the screen. I forget the guard's name who knocked down some big 3-pointers, who shot a lot of free throws.
Oh, Davison?
Yeah, Davison. I mean, he was running sprinting into catch and shoot. That's confidence. That's high confidence.
10 of 10 at the free throw line, man.
Yeah, my point. Like, again, you can't let a team like that get, one-in-one situation too early. That's going to bite you.
Yeah, Wisconsin had 2 guys that hit 10 free throws.
Yes.
I mean, that's tough. This is a game that I don't know. I'm sure it has happened, but 2 different 30-point scorers in this game. That doesn't happen very often, Charlie, not in this building.
And to me, again, Trace's 30 was quiet. It wasn't like it was boisterous or noisy. That's why I said, 13. You said 30, how many shots? 13?
He only took 13 shots. He took more free throws than he did field goals.
Yeah, that's efficient, man. Yeah, we 10 to 15 more shots. I think we're on this on this call, having a different tone, a different talk.
I know at one point I sent out a tweet that between Race Trace and Trey Galloway, they were shooting like 76%. The rest of the team was 9 of 22, around 40%. But unfortunately, that was the guards and the perimeter shooting. And so that's where Indiana was getting killed. Obviously, I'm not telling anyone something that they don't know here. But going forward, it's the same old story, and there's not a lot to change. Indiana's guards have got to find a way to score the ball, whether that is shooting outside shots or getting to the rim, but someone has to do it besides Trace Race, because otherwise this is a team. Wisconsin's a team that just doesn't have a very good defensive front court.
Right.
Man, the rest of the Big Ten does.
Right.
They're one of the, if not the only successful Big Ten teams that doesn't really have a front court to speak of.
Right.
But yet still successful. Most every other successful team in this league has got a big dude,
really,
man.
Your 4-5s are like 4-5s, right? Your center, power forward center are you can say that. It's not like what they had. No disrespect to those guys. Anything impressive. They just play a solid game. They played their role, like you said earlier.
Right? And I don't question Coach Woodson. Obviously, he knows more in his fingernail than my entire lifetime. But I thought that they had gotten past the mass substitutions because there's not been a point this year where we have seen that second unit really do anything. And tonight was a game of great importance, and I don't know why that risk was taken again, because it hasn't worked, and it didn't work again. They didn't lose a lot during that stretch, but they gained nothing. They got some rest, I guess, but there was no separation, and Wisconsin gave them nothing. So it was an opportunity where they could have given a little bit of cushion, and had they done that and the first unit come back in, that may have made the difference. I don't know, but they didn't get anything from those guys.
Yeah, and you don't get better. This unfortunate part. You don't get better sitting on the bench. You got to get in the game. You need that confidence boost. Great to see those guys play. Little different now at 45. I'm not putting those guys in. I'm not putting them in. They're gonna have to ride it out. Sorry. Hey, man, this game was tight. I'm not doing that because there was no flow. No one gained, but it was a slight change of flow in game when they came back in. Wisconsin started to pick up a little bit. Again, Christian picked up a foul. It was like, I think, an and one. The shots that were taken just out of rhythm. You haven't taken a shot probably since warm-ups in the second half. I mean, now you got to step up and be ready, but that's tough and challenging to do.
Every game there are just moments and then moments and moments, and those moments add up, and they're all just little moments. They're just little moments.
That's all it is, and that's why I keep saying, what happened last play? What happened last possession? Trace just got the ball, took the guy with immediacy. Trace, go again. Just don't shoot a three. No freaking pull-up jumpers. You saw what he just did? Give it back. Yeah. Rub, cut, fake, go to the weak side. Give him the freaking ball. Go, dude. Get a charge. Throw up 5 bad 6 shots. Throw off defense from Wisconsin to come in, suck in too much. Now play outside in. Now pass it out. Go set that ball screen. You got the big running. Now those lives we got in the beginning of the season, right, that's not there anymore. They're just staying back. They know X little play going left. They know he not throwing. He trying. Now those lobs aren't there because you're not hitting them to me with immediacy, not urgency, a sense of priority of, again, get it, go, nothing, swing it, get it back to Trace, throw it out, go set the ball screen, go down. Now you got everybody scrambling. Now you got Parker still at weak side, knocking down shots. You gotta, to me, I think that's the action we have to play with, consecutive action that I just don't see. And I think that's how we're going to have to play to give ourselves a chance to win.
Indiana now with a week off, Charlie, before playing Ohio State, which was originally scheduled for next Saturday. Now it's next Monday.
Yes, that's right.
So it gives 2 more days of practice, rest, whatever it's going to be. But this is a team that they've beaten once already. So there's something there, but they've got to go on the road. They've got to go get a road win, man. Every time we keep saying this, but they're running out of opportunities, Charlie.
Yeah. It's getting, again, you don't want that whole we win, they got to lose. You don't want that. I mean, I'm just hoping that we can right the ship. I mean, 4 games. I don't care who you are. You lose 4 games. I mean, that's going to start lingering in the locker room. Right, stuff starts bubbling, stuff that you might have having under the wraps. It's coming out now. Now, again, this is the best teacher adversity. You have to now, that word, Mike Woodson, you got to galvanize. You got to do it. This is when you do it. It's cute when everything's in the beginning. But now this is when you got to really put together all the feelings and the egos, and we have to figure out how to play for each other.
Yeah, because they've got, like I said, the opportunities are starting to fade. And the one thing I can't say that I've seen from this team this entire season is toughness. And if you're going to need anything for these last few games, it's going to be toughness. You're going to have to buck up, bow up, and do whatever. But it's going to be up to you. And not that they didn't play hard tonight. They played hard.
They always played hard. Yeah.
Played hard, but they have to play harder and smarter. And it's just those moments where they stop doing the things that they need to do, or the opportunities go by. And that's what happened tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah. So two things for me in that regard. It's focus and fatigue. Which one you going to feed, man? And fatigue gets us a lot. And I understand why. You got guys playing heavy minutes. You don't really have much of a bench that you can really rely on to come in, bring instant offense or instant credibility even on defense to set a tone, right? So you and again, toughness is focus, man. It's focus. It's focus. It's the moments. It's, again, like you said, it's moments. It's possession by possession. And are you paying attention enough to see the trends in the game and where you can make a dent or a difference in the game?
Is that an accurate stat? Trace Jackson-Davis only 2 shots in the last 10 minutes of the game.
That's what I was saying. And I'm going to tell you what my observation is. He's not ready. He's upright. I gave an illustration. Nothing against it. He knows they're trying to come, right? So he's here. He's right here, up. When he's down, you can't stop him. Boom, gone. He's here, looking. They're settling. They're down there waiting. You can't dribble. They're going to go to the ball. Now you passing the ball out, ball watching, versus when you get it, boom, just go. But when he's upright, he's really now doing them a favor.
Need you back in Bloomington, Charlie.
Huh?
Need you back in Bloomington, Charlie.
Well, I pass it along, man. Like, just stay low, play low, only come up to shoot. Your left hand hook, right hand shot, stay low and go. Because your shoulders to the defender's waist, they can't stop. They didn't stop that all night. It's when he's upright. And that's what happened in the last 10 minutes. That's why you get 2 shots. Because now that toughness, that awareness is not there. You're not going to do it from up here. You're going to do it from here. And we were out of position.
He knows what he's talking about. It's Charlie Miller, former All-American at attack ball. You got to give him a follow because that's what he still does. And he does it quite well. As always, man, I cannot thank you enough. Of course, thanks to Southern Stone Restaurant. Make sure you go out there at Patterson and Rogers here in Bloomington whenever you get a chance. It's Monday. Inside Indiana Basketball with Don Fisher and Mike Woodson. You can catch that at 7:05. We're back tomorrow for Indiana Sports Beat Radio at our regular time, so we'll be back there. Charlie, man, I cannot thank you enough as always. You slice it and dice it the way it needs to be, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you.
And we appreciate it. Charlie, could you please come back to IU and talk to these players? Yeah, man, you're right. I need to.
They want you.
I appreciate it.
They want you. We'll talk about it more. We'll see you on Monday.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Charlie Miller joining us here on Indiana Basketball after the game. Charlie Miller joining us. And thank you so much. Couldn't be no reason for us to be here without you. Thanks to John, the producer, as well. I'm Jim Coyle. Until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.